Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Black Game Pro Sessions. Let me turn down the volume so you can actually hear what I'm saying, because today is going to be another exciting session. For those joining the first time, hello, Leon here. I started this platform to really shine a light on all the amazing people of color working in our industry. Not just gaming, entertainment as a whole, because I think we need more representation. There's a lot of talk. People always think that there's not enough representation. What the goal is of this platform is to show you that, yes, we can always use more representation, but there are already people out there doing amazing things. And today is no different. We have an amazing person that normally doesn't really do interviews, so I'm very happy to have him here. For those joining the first time, do the comments and the likes and the shares. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. We will make sure to ask any questions that you might have. And if you want to be so kind, just, to, like I said, like, share. Also, let us know where you're from, where you're watching this from. It's always interesting, even if you're watching this on demand and not live. All right, enough of me doing my little operational conversation. Let me dive right into today and why we are here. Today's guest sits at a really interesting intersection of culture, community, fandom, and entrepreneurship. Because long before geek culture became mainstream, before anime became cool, before every brand suddenly wanted to tap into nerd culture, there were people building spaces for those communities from the ground up. Terril Fields is one of those people. He's the founder and CEO of Blurred, Black Nerd, a media and culture platform focused on Black geek culture, storytelling, community, and fandom. What started as an identity and a vision evolved into a growing ecosystem spanning content, events, partnerships, creator culture, and experiential activations. And what I personally find interesting is that this conversation goes beyond gaming. Sure, gaming is part of this, but we're going to talk about the business of building a community, ownership in culture, why belonging matters, how fandom became mainstream, and what happens when underrepresented communities stop asking for permission and start building infrastructure for themselves, as Terril has been doing in the last few years. Because at the end of the day, culture is no longer just entertainment. Culture is influence. Culture is business. Culture is power. So I'm really looking forward to dive into all of that today. So please help me in welcoming the amazing Terril Fields.
Great intro.
Hello. I like to hype it up, and then also it's about giving you your flowers, good sir.
Thank you. I like the jazzy music that started playing at the beginning too. I was like, listen, set the vibe.
Exactly, it's a nice little vibe. But that's the thing. It's about giving you your flowers and being cool while doing that. Having a little background vibe where we can discuss about your life, your work, and the amazing things that you've been building and are building with Blurred.com. So welcome and thank you for your time, because I know you don't really do these interviews that often. So I appreciate that, good sir.
Yeah, I can be more of I'm an ambivert. So you catch me on the right day, I could be outgoing, but most of the time I'm kind of like, I like to be in the house. I like to hang out,
I appreciate it. I understand, but you're here. It's appreciated. And for the people watching, once again, if you have any questions for Terril, leave them in the chat. We'll deal with them as we get them. It's important that it's a conversation. It's not just me asking questions at Terril or Terril just doing a monologue. No, it's a conversation, a dialogue. Before we get all into the thing that you've built up with Blurred, I wanted to have a quick rapid fire kind of conversation and warm up.
Let's do it.
So, anime, comics, gaming, or tech, which culture shaped you the most?
Ooh, probably gaming.
All right. Favorite fictional character of all time?
Ooh.
Can be games, can be anything.
Favorite though is tough. There's a lot of them. I go back and forth with this. I might give it to Vegeta. I liked his character development, and like especially. It's changed over time, but became a dad, and even like the way his art kind of changed as he became a father within it. I kind of resonate with that quite a bit now.
Okay, fair enough. A nerd interest you got clowned for growing up?
Ooh, Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pokemon wasn't always popular cool to people.
No, for the kids out there, indeed, back in the days, especially
Yeah,
as I don't want to say especially, but we're gonna get into that anyway. As a black
yeah,
person, being like, I got my Pokemon, I love my Pokemon. No, that didn't go over that well.
yep.
It's changed, however, which is good. Um, a piece of media that makes you feel seen for the first time.
For the first time, I'm gonna go. I mean, it's recent-ish, but like I really
This
feel like
time,
Black Panther was like the
oh,
one.
man.
Black Panther was when I watched that in the theater. I watched it in Durham actually, in the theater, and like everybody came out, people dressed up and everything, and it was like the turning point where I went like I can actually turn my interest into a business. It's not just like a fun thing. I was like I could actually probably like make this viable.
Huh. So it gave you kind of like it showed you the way, or showed you that there was like, this actually can work.
Yeah, that was the moment where I was like, because part of with Blur starting, this was probably 2014, 2015. I worked in tech sales, and one of my buddies was standing there, and I was like ranting about something. I can't even remember what it was. And he just like looks up at me. He's like, "You're the biggest black blurred I know," and I was just like, "Huh." I was like, I wonder if that's like a website, if there's like a company, a business around that. And like I looked online, I didn't like see it. Then I bought the web domain like all the way back in like 2015. I just sat on it. And I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, but like I want to create something cool around it at some point. And then I like watched that movie. I was like, I could like maybe actually do this. Like this could like
Really
turn
do
into
it,
something. Yeah.
It's funny sometimes how media can almost give you the permission to think big, because they show you like, and it doesn't need to be exactly meme again. The Black Panther is not per se about what you're doing now with Blurred, but it
Right.
showed you that it showed that black culture has potential. That sounds so weird, but of course it has potential. But you know that there's financial potential gains if you do it properly.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So so Blurred has been around for over 10 years now. What does it mean to you today versus 10 years ago? You kind of already alluded to it, but
yeah, it's grown so much. So like I just like think back to the beginning. It was just me and my buddies, my co-founders, Chris and Javon. We worked the finish line together, right? And me and Chris were like two of the black honor students in our high schools, like then kind of like, a bit nerdy, but geeky with the educational piece. But even Javon, we're in the store. I was like, wait, you like Dragon Ball? He's like, you like Dragon Ball? I was like, you like Dragon Ball? It's like, but like we're in this retail store. This is 2003, 2004 in that time frame. This is when like 5X white tees are in style. Air Force One. Being a nerd is not like very cool or fashionable back then. So it was like a little bit more covert than what it is today. People just like proudly like express it. So it was cool to like learn somebody like right next to me, literally working with me, also like the stuff, and then you fast forward years and years in the future. We're at events, we're passing out stickers, saying, "Hey, we're starting this website. It's going to be called blurred.com, and we're going to like create content and talk about the things we like, but like from our point of view." And it evolved from pass out stickers to making articles and videos and whatnot and podcasts. And then we had this moment where we were going to these different conventions, and I was like, man, like none of the merchandise has any of us on it. It was kind of crazy. Like it sounds crazy now, like because now you see it a lot more than you did back then. But it was like you walk around the convention, all the characters are white and Asian on the t-shirts.
Yeah.
And I was like, is it a crazy idea to create merchandise with characters that look like us on it? I was like, is this going to be financially viable? I was like, I don't know. And we did it anyway. And it took off.
What was the first thing that you created back then? Do you still have it? Was it a t-shirt? Was it a hoodie? What was the thing that you created? That you were like, this is shit.
We started with t-shirts and stickers because it's like I would tell anybody trying to like get into this world, like kind of like the easiest two things to do, right? Like you can get a blank t-shirt on a print-on-demand company, create a design, and boom, within a week, you know, you got like a design. Same thing with stickers. You can get like stickers turned around a couple days. The first shirt was just the shirt with the logo on it. You know, the logo I'm wearing right here, except the black version. We just literally put that on the shirt, and people bought it. We were like, wait a minute, like people buy just the logo. We're like, that's cool. And then we got like more adventurous with the designs, and it was funny. I talk about this with co-founder Javon sometimes. Sometimes we go crazy and like extravagant with some of the designs, and maybe like too far into the creativity, and sometimes they don't quite hit. Sometimes they go like crazy, sometimes they don't. But a lot of people with the fashion sense, they just want the simple, they just want the logo on it, black shirt, just very like quiet.
Classic. Yeah.
Understated.
Yeah,
understated. And we always have these moments just like, man, we spent all this time and money and creativity like creating this thing. This like it was in our mind gonna be a masterpiece, and it just don't hit, and then like something just
black
like
t-shirt, white logo.
That's what they want.
Hey, it's powerful, man. Who came up with the Afro glasses logo? Because because honestly, that is how I mean, not found it, but how I got to know you guys. I saw that logo once. I don't know where, and I'm like, oh, that's dope. And then you start clicking, and it's super cool.
So again, this is one of those things where you're just like, if you go out and try to figure things out, you kind of like figure out them on the way, right? So I was like, well, where do you find people to design logos? And there's this website, I think it's called like Microburst at the time. I think it turned into 99 Designs. I think they might have like bought them out or something. But there's just like design contests. So we go in there, we put up the like what we're trying to create, the colors we like, the prompts, and you know, kind of give them like a description. Almost like, and it sounds crazy, like now you could theoretically throw that in AI and spit something out, which I wouldn't advise anybody to do for like a logo, but you know, we put, you know, kind of a brief out there, and all these artists started like creating logos. It was literally the first design submitted, and it was that thing where, because it was the first design submitted, I like almost didn't want to choose it because that seems like too on the nose, right? It seemed, I was like, but I kept showing it. People were like, yeah, that's the logo. That's the logo. And there were all these other designs, like, you know, superhero silhouettes and all these other things. And then we kept looking at that logo, and I was like, man, that's like the one. And people always are like, well, the colors of the 3D glasses, the magenta is on the left and the blue is on the right, which is normally reversed, right? When you see a traditional design, two things is kind of like being subversive, you know, being inverted to like the standard culture, but also, you know, again, with the times, you know, everybody's got camera phones and whatnot. Take a picture of it, it flips. So, you know, that's what we did with the logo.
It is on anything. Eric says it as well. It's such a cool effing logo. Did you, the person who created it, did you stay in touch with that person, or is it just he or she created the logo? And
I stay in touch with them. I still work with them to this day. Like, you know, like we've done like spin-offs and like parodies of the logo, or kind of like made it look like other characters that are popular in fiction. I've had other like random projects where like, hey, can you do this? Can you do this? Hey, can you update this? Or can you change this? Like, when you find a great designer, I tell people like stick with them. There's artists that we've worked with over the years too for a lot of our merch, and I do go out and like find new ones sometimes, but a lot of the artists that we work with, I work with them over and over again. It's gotten to the point where they can kind of like understand what I want before I even like. Sometimes they create things where I'm like giving them just very, very basic like details, and they take it to like a whole different dimension, and they add those like little details that they know I want to see in it. And it's that thing where now there's not a bunch of like revisions and edits, like within one or two things, you know, I'm like, can you change this a little bit? Can you change that? And it'll be done in like one or two revisions. And super important, you know, that's money saved, that's time saved. It gets things moving quicker.
It's first, once again, it's a super cool logo, and it's cool indeed that you stay. You know, if it ain't broke, why fix it, right? I mean, if you have an amazing creative director, or an art director, or a graphic person why change it? And like you said, indeed, at a certain point in time, especially the longer you work with them, the more they will understand what you want. And at a certain point in time, they will be able to finish your sentence without you even saying it, or like showing you the thing that you didn't even know you wanted.
Yeah, like with me too, and I think this is probably one of my, maybe if I was to say I have a talent, or one of the talents I have, I'm not necessarily that great at like creating from scratch, but like I feel like I have somewhat of an eye for like what I want to see. And I think a lot of that comes from like my family. Like my uncle was a cartoonist, my father could draw really well, my sister could draw, she's a photographer. I'm probably like the weakest artistically in the family, but like I can see things. And when I got out of college, my first job was working for a print and promotional product company. So I was able to like see how all these different marketers would apply their logos to different like products and print and things like that. So, I learned what CMYK is. I learned what PMS colors are. I learned, what hex is, and like why all of these colors are different, because applied differently, they're going to look different. It's going to look different on different materials and in different applications. When light hits things a certain way, they're going to look different. And even from like a, merchandise perspective, composition matters. So, I tell people this all the time, like, most of our customers are women. It's probably like 65% or so.
Oh, really?
Actually. So we sell unisex shirts most of the time. If you put a big square on a shirt for a woman, it's going to turn into an hourglass to skew the shape. So you don't want to have these like big hard shapes, on the shirt. You want to have it composed a certain way. So like that, the way we do social media graphics, the way we can take something from like the artist's mind and then like add different elements and whatnot in Photoshop, and just kind of like alter it so that it fits where the final product's supposed to be. I think that's something that you kind of I think some people have an eye for it, but I think you also kind of develop it over time, just kind of like doing things over and over and over again. Our products at the beginning were nowhere near what they ended up being, mid.
Of course not. That's how it goes. You learn, you iterate, and you learn, and you grow. I mean, there was a question from Javon. Where does he find the other artists? And it's not the proper question, I think. But in general, I mean, it's not well. But in general, when you're looking for a creative to work with that goes beyond outside of your outside of your Rolodex of people that you already work with, how do you find new artists? I think that's the question that he's trying to ask. I think maybe I'm wrong. Javon, please correct me if I'm wrong.
That's Javon from my team, don't mind him. But he already knows the answer to this, but I'll tell it to the crowd. So like we find the artists for projects, there's two primary ways. So one will be like going to the conventions. Like we walk around the floor and you go to Artist Alley and you see all these different artists. And there's usually something that kind of like will pique my attention. Like they use color really well, or like their composition looked really good, or I could tell that they put a lot of intention into the way that they did their marketing. Or it could even be something as simple as like the lines around the characters are like really bold in a certain way. And I know that like that's going to relate to like a product really well. So that's one way. And then like we find a bunch of artists on just like Instagram. We see all the different art that creators are making. Sometimes people tag us and stuff. We all buy a bunch of like the indie comics from the different creators. And I mean, obviously, they're artists or no artists. So you kind of like find them that way.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting how that goes indeed. When you started Blurred in the beginning, did you already envision that it was had the potential to grow into something that, full-time job, actual money, that kind of stuff? No?
When I started the business,
take us back to these early years indeed. What was that like?
I've only even been working on this full time for probably like the past like 2 years. Like I've always had, jobs while working on this. Like, I would tell anybody starting almost any business, like you might want to, have to keep the day job, work on this night and weekends until you start seeing some like revenue roll in. Because the other part of it is, even when you're doing revenue, you're not doing profit. Those are two very different things. Being profitable is much more difficult than getting in revenue. And getting in revenue is hard enough. So, you're kind of like climbing these mountains as you go. And to do things properly, I think most of the time you do have to spend a lot of money up front. Like even with us, I think about all the operational costs we have. You got website fees, we got travel expenses, we commission artists, we pay for cost of goods sold, we got to pay fees to go to different conventions and shows. We do paid marketing. There's all these expenses to go into the business.
Especially starting a company, how did you finance that in the beginning? I mean, creating the infrastructure, where did that come from?
Yeah, so there's kind of two things. Tech sales was like my primary career. So I worked for a bunch of different hardware and software companies. I was at Lenovo for years. I was at a company called Redwood Software for years. Worked at a company called Insight Software. Companies to do like B2B tech. I didn't even know that was like a career option when I was in high school. Like nobody introduces that to you. And it's like, if I was to go to a high school and talk to a group, I'd be like, pay attention to this very specific career field, especially, I'm not extroverted, but especially if you're extroverted, especially if you understand technology by any means, if you can like explain technology to your parents, you can go into tech sales. And that like career is insane. Like you can make just basically out of college, 6 figures. You can go be a BDR, SDR, make 60 to 100K just cold calling. Jump up from that and be like an account executive. There's account executives out there making $1 million. It really kind of depends on how far you want to take it, how good you are. You can be making surgeon money in your 20s, but this is like never presented to you. Everybody's like telling you to go to tech, and then if you're like you think about going into sports, being a pro athlete, and it's like, like very slim chance of that actually happening, just numerically, statistically. But it's like, man, like especially like 10 years ago, like they were always hiring tech sales because it's very mentally challenging. You got to be able to take a lot of rejection. You got to be able to like keep plowing through that. That part of it is not easy.
So, I mean, but it made nice money. So what made you decide to be like, you know what? You were still doing the job, but you were, starting Blurred.
Yeah.
What was that? Where did that decision come from? It wasn't fulfilling enough, the things you were doing in sales?
I always liked tech sales. Even now, I might hop back into it. Like, you can make a good chunk of change to talk to people. Like how me and you were talking here. I basically would hop on Zoom calls, talk to people, figure out what their problem was, and try to push through it. Get contracts signed, and boom. Like, it's not physically a difficult job by any means. And then, I would go travel and fly out and meet clients sometimes. But that's another part they don't tell you. You get to travel and the company's not. You get to go eat nice food and take clients out and wine and dine them. And, hopefully they sign the deal at the end. It's not just blowing money. But, like, you can go, be in different cities all the time and get to go, like, travel in the U.S. and, abroad on the company's not and get paid. It's, like, a sweet gig. The only thing is there's really high level of pressure. Like, it's the one job where your performance is like very hardcore numerically, like set, like you hit your number or you didn't hit your number, and they raise that quota on you like every year. So like, even if you do well, you hit your number, you come back the next year, it's higher.
Better than that, of course.
It's higher. And eventually it's like, come on, bro. Like, how much more do you want?
I can't give anymore. I can't take it anymore.
It feels like you're squeezing blood out the stone. You're I don't have it.
But still, a lot of people, well, not you, thank God, but a lot of people, they would be like, okay, I have my 6-figure job, even though it's stressful. I'll do it until I die or I stress out or burn out. But you were like, nah. I want to create something else.
That's where I get a lot of like my creativity off. I get a lot of excitement from it. I get a lot of community fulfillment from it. I've met so many people that I would have never met if I never did it. I'm talking to you now. I would have never been talking to you today. So there's a lot of like emotional fulfillment. I'd say that's much higher than the financial fulfillment. So you gotta kind of like
Yeah,
wait.
but it's
Everybody
important because especially nowadays, not even nowadays, in general, people seem to kind of listen more towards the money part. Like, oh, money, money, money. I want more money. But fulfillment is super important, especially the older I get, the more I think about, getting the money. And indeed, I travel for my work. I do the things. I wine and dine, even though I don't have to sell. But the fulfillment of doing something like this, creating an actual platform where I can have conversation with people that inspire me, that's the thing. I don't get paid for this.
Yeah, it's like, especially when we go to like shows and like people like see what we've created and like they smile at you. Like there's not a lot of things you can do where people are like giving you these genuine smiles. They're like thrilled to see what you've done. They're happy. They feel like a sense of like being seen and belonging.
Oh,
like that
man.
part of it is like,
but that's why
you can't really buy that.
No, but that's why it's so important what you're building with or have built with Blurred, because indeed, like you said, many Black people, Black nerds specifically, they feel invisible. Why do you think that? Why do you think I can also include myself to that. Why do you think we felt invisible for so long?
I think there's multiple layers to that. I think the first part of it is the nerd layer wasn't cool until maybe 5 years ago. Maybe you might give it, even stretch it back like 6-7 years ago. You could see it kind of like popping up in pop culture and getting like more normalized, I guess. But for a long time that was not the case. So that's one layer of it. Then you have all of the Black layers of it too, right?
Oh yeah.
The feeling the need to be cool all the time is something. Then you feel the pressure to play sports, the pressure to do and act a certain way all the time. And if you are counter to that, you kind of like being counter to the culture, so but we're not a monolith either. Like every Black person is different. We all like and do different things. And I think breaking out of that rigidity is like something super important, and I think we're going to continue to see that as time goes.
Oh yeah, it's going to get bigger and bigger. That's just fact. And the thing is, with the platform that you've built, and I had a conversation with Tony Weaver about that the other day as well, with the platform that he built as well. You show that it's okay. It's okay to be whatever you are. Indeed, like you said, we are not a monolith. You can be whatever you want. You can be a geek. You can be a gangster. You can be both. We don't care. I'm both. I'm a gangster geek.
That was always my thing when I was growing up. It's like, I'm playing sports, playing basketball, I'm playing football, all these different things. And like, I'm a bigger guy. Like I take the glasses off and I'm like walking down the street. You might not necessarily immediately like, oh, that's a nerdy guy, right? Especially when I was younger. I was, Allen Iverson was one of my favorite basketball players. And I would spend the summers in Philly with my dad, and that's when they were making their finals run, and that was huge. Just like I kind of want to be like him too, So it was like this thing where it's like you can be a combination.
But that's the thing. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to be one or the other.
Yeah, you can like all these things, and all of us are a combination of a lot of different things.
Oh yeah, but that's the thing is like, but also showing on the platform that you have by the thing that you post, but also by the people that you highlight, like showing indeed that there's this multi-layered thing. It's like, yeah, you can be a nerd, but you can be a nerd and a musician. You can be a nerd and a basketball player, and there's many examples out there. And I think by just shining a light on that, you empower people to live their true self, whatever makes them happy. And I think that's why it's so important what you guys have been building with Blurred, because when we were offline or when we were not live yet, I was sharing about the fact that here in Europe, we don't have something like that. We're splintered. Black people over here are splintered because we think, country to country, and you have Dutch Black people, you got German Black people, you got French Black people, all these kind of things, and we don't interact. And what we're missing indeed, and slowly but surely it's coming, and I'm happy to see that, but a platform like Blurred would be great. Speaking of which, in regards of like audience and visitors, do you see it's predominantly US visitors, I assume, or is it global? Or maybe I'm completely wrong in my assumption.
So for us, it's predominantly U.S., but I have seen over the years that it's spread to other countries. Like when I look at the website traffic, we're seeing traffic, uh, up in Canada. We see traffic in a lot of the European countries. Like we see traffic from the African countries. Like there's definitely interest is spread out, and like even some of the like orders from our website. It's probably like 2 or 3 years ago. We started getting some international stuff going on, and then I was just like, how do I ship this? I don't want to think of that. Yeah.
How much is this going to cost me to ship this shit?
We shipped stuff to like military bases before, and I'm just like,
but that's cool,
you get this,
right?
like this waybill, and you're just like, I think this is right. Hopefully, it gets there. Yeah.
Well,
It is cool.
I mean, what? How? I mean, I know it's a super like targeted question, but what does that feel like? The first time you get like an international order from a country that you might have never heard of.
Yeah.
Like, how the F do they know about Blur?
Yeah. You're just like, oh my God. Like, you got to have that moment. Like, somebody, it's not even international. It's like also like middle America. There's like some person in one of those little states that might not have a lot of community around them, but they like saw what we're doing and they thought enough of us to support it. And it was, it's super important to me. And it's like very kind of like humbling too, that like something that you just kind of like, bluntly just kind of like created out of your mind was big enough to like interact with,
Yeah, but it shows that there's that the work that you were doing, that it resonates, that it was needed, that people needed to see that, they needed to be able to have an environment where they belong. Because indeed, if you grow up as a black kid, not just in the States but also in Europe, you're expected, or people have expectations, and not just people, society, but also your people, your family, your friends. And then when you show up with your Pokemon, or being like, oh, I have a game tattoo, that kind of shit, they were like, what the fuck? So the fact that you're giving them permission and that you've been building this for the last 10 years and expanding on it has contributed to the fact that you see more of us now that indeed are proudly walking around in their game shirt or their geek shirt or their Blur shirt, and that's fine, and it should be fine. And at the same time, they can wear geek bling, but at the same time, we can be listening to 50 Cent or whatever. It doesn't exclude.
Yeah, something that I think's been really cool too is like over the years you've seen the expansion of all these different communities in different areas as well. So it's not just been like us growing as a company, but it's been like all of these other organizations out there that even a lot of them started small and they just kind of kept growing and growing and growing. And we got to work with a bunch of those different organizations over the year as well. And you just get like this sense of community from people that aren't even like near you. It's just like really cool to be able to get something like that.
Yeah, because you're all having like similar kind of mission, and it's once again, it's you're the organizer, you're the owner, the co-founder, or the founder, and then talking to other founders doing similar or in the same field kind of things, it makes you also not feel so alone. It's like, okay, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
You can be inspired by these other people in the industry that are doing similar things, maybe in different fields or in different niches, but still comparable.
Yeah. It's that, and then there's always the people like, well, why do you gotta have Blur? Why can't it just be Nerd? Why is it gotta be stuff? You get
but don't even entertain these conversations. They're like, because
I explain it to them like, people have different cultural experiences. You can both be consuming the same piece of media and look at it very differently because of the cultural
through different lens.
100%. I'm like, that's part of it. I'm like, even the experiences you have dealing with other things out there is different. Like, I play a lot of online games. Online racism is a real thing. People try to pretend it's not, but if you were to watch me, I don't stream often, but if I decided to stream for it, I would give it like maybe 3 hours tops. You're gonna hear some words that some people get very offended by, and other people don't necessarily have to deal with that, So yeah, there is a need for like, Blur and all these other different like community organizations, because some people get hurt by that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why, for example, the work that one of your colleagues in the industry, Jan Lopez, with Black Girl Gamers, creating a safe environment where people can play together without having to worry about being called all kind of different things. And indeed, I think it is important. Some people indeed are super sensitive. Some people don't really care, but that's also one of the reasons why I don't play online that much, because I don't want to be triggered. Gaming for me is relaxation, it's escapism, or it's a venting way. And I don't per se want to vent aggressiveness or like being like frustrated. No, I want to have fun. I don't want to be called N-words or whatever the hell. Nah, fuck that.
No, it rolls off my back. I've been gaming since forever. Like
you're numb to it.
It doesn't faze me, and I'm one of those people like, if I could punish you for it in game, I will do it. So.
Yeah, but with even worse, I suck in online games. So imagine people calling me N-word and me trying to punish them, but they keep on killing me. Then they're like, "Oh fuck, the hell with this shit." One of the cool things that I saw about what you guys have been building is, at a certain point in time, you have this community that is super active, super appreciative, and then you collaborate and do an event. BlurredCon. Where did that come from? Because I know that's not per se, it's a collaboration between you and another party.
So
how did that come to be?
Has been around for years, a completely separate entity than us, and they also felt the need to like create community, and they created their event, and we were creating a brand, and they had a convention, and as the years went, we're like, we could work together and like do some things. We created like some limited shirts that have been dropped at that event. We've helped them with like some marketing partnerships in the past. And it's like the names are so similar, the missions kind of have similar, feels and vibes to them. So, we work with them. We've worked with DreamCon. We've done partnerships with them where we threw an anime rave last year at DreamCon.
I've seen some videos, and that was fucking dope. That was so dope.
It's funny, like you kind of branch out to do these things, and there's like a fear because you don't know, especially like when you first do it. Like that was our first like solo, just us putting on type of event. You're like all these little logistics. You're like, you gotta get a DJ, you gotta get a host, you gotta get a venue, you gotta have insurance, you gotta have security. How are we checking people in? How are we gonna market it? Are we actually gonna get anybody to come to this thing? There's all these things like worries, and you're like, that bill goes, and you're like, all right, we need people to kind of get the bill back down and try to get more even. And it was a sold out event. Like we sold out of it, and everybody had.
But of course, but once again, you've given people the permission. Yeah, but it's of course it's always in hindsight, but and I'm sure that the more often you do this, the more you're like, I know what I'm doing, and I know what I'm doing as well. But that's the thing, is nobody ever thought about doing like a anime rave, and now you're giving them the permission to like fully geek out in a controlled environment where they're surrounded by their peers, surrounded by people that that embrace them. Yeah, it's special, man. What you guys did was effing special. That was special, and that's why it worked.
We were looking at, we've gone to that event for years, and we're like, all right, like there's all these other events. Like, what is something different that we can do specifically in this? And I'm like, let's try to do this thing, and it went well. And a big part of that is very well. I always say, like, when people ask for advice in like business, and like, there's you, and sure, you got to be able to execute, and you have your expertise and everything that you can do, but like the bigger part of it is like your team. Because you can only go so far by yourself, and like, even that event, one of our partners, and we have like 5 owners to the business. So Jewel Jordan like does PR and events for us, and she like, I was like, Jewel, we're doing this event. It's going to happen. Figure it out. I'm like, I can help you with getting a venue. We're going to pay for it. We're going to get the host, blah blah blah. But like, I need you to actually figure out all these like little things. I gave her like maybe a month and a half, and she did it. Otis does a lot of. Otis East is another person on our team. He handles a lot of our content. I kind of showed him like, this is how you go on the website, this is how you write an article, blah blah blah. And he's been knocking it out for years. Chris knocks out a lot of our sales. He got us our first government contract, which like we're selling stickers, now we got a government contract. Like, how did that happen? These things kind of evolve over time. And, Javon on my team, he's been my road warrior for years. Go to events, set up a whole booth in like an hour, work retail, basically work Black Friday is what it feels like for like an entire weekend, break it down and, hit the road again. He has a strong like cultural pulse where he kind of like knows what's happening. So like,
which is very important.
All of those pieces together is what makes, the team work, because I could not do it by myself. Even like the artists that we work with, the contractors for all these random things that we do, it's like you got to have other people out there to help you. I stress that more than anything. It's like part of the reason you probably don't see me that much. I'm like, well, all these other people are doing stuff. Like, talk to them. Like, somebody will send me a message like, hey, can talk to Jules. She knows about that more than I do. Like, you can talk to me, but like, I don't know. Like, I rely on them to get it done,
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, it's like you're the chef and you're finding the right ingredients or tools or appliances to work with. And that's, you leverage your people, your team.
Yeah, or you can look at it like, the composer's up there. The composer's not playing any music.
Exactly. What instruments do you need?
Yeah.
They're the special. Don't ask me about the trombone. It's like, no.
Yeah. It's like, you kind of know what it's supposed to sound like, but you don't know how to play it. Yeah.
True that. One of the cool things that I've seen is indeed that you already, you mentioned it, the fact, you have government contracts, you work with big brands, Revolt, AMD, Sony Music. What do some of these big brands, and you don't have to name this, it's not about naming, but what some of these big brands still misunderstand about Black geek audiences?
I think there's a few things. I think, one, most of them don't really like live in it. So like living in it is a big deal. Like, there's like jokes and insider knowledge that you're just gonna have just kind of like naturally just kind of like being in the culture. There's like, even on the bad side, like there's politics behind the scenes. There's all these different organizations, and some do things this way, some do things that way, and kind of like knowing the landscape's really important. I think that's something that's huge. Like, specifically, you mentioned Revolt. We did an activation with them where we collaborated with Black Fae Day, and we had them come out. The Black Fays came out, and they did surveys for a product that Revolt was trying to launch. And it's like, there's all these different fake groups, but like get the originators of it out there, get them involved, even if like they didn't want to like directly work it, like get some like input from these people, because they know this. It's like, I know it tangentially, but like they really know it. Like, make sure you authentically get those people involved. And I think that's a big thing with us is I think we function as like kind of like a glue to a lot of these different, even subcultures within the blurred world.
And I mean, but if these brands don't have like the in-house knowledge or like the cultural knowledge or sensibility, where do they find you? You guys proactively reach out to them? For example, with Revolt, indeed. Let's get that example. Did they reach out to you, or did you reach out to them?
Yeah, so I have my background, sales and marketing, kind of mentioned earlier. So I always look at there's two funnels to sales. There's the inbound and there's the outbound, right? Yep. The outbound is us proactively kind of reaching out to companies and brands, and we do that. And then there's also like the inbound, and that's where, I always stress this with Otis. I'm like, super important to get the content just constantly flowing, because that's how people discover us online. They come on the website, they see what we're talking about, and they're like, oh, these guys kind of like are in this culture, and I'm trying to do this thing and I don't quite know exactly what I want, but I have an idea, and they reach out to us. And that's how that Revolt situation happened. They found an article on our website. They reached out to us. We did the discovery call. We kind of like looked at what it would be logistically. I was like, we can get this done. XYZ person should be involved. This person should be involved. And everybody came there and we knocked it out. Mission was complete. We got all the surveys done. It was like really successful.
That's so cool. It's so cool. I know it's a cool team. I know they're, we're not going to talk about the person who's created Clever Vault, but their team is pretty cool. That's dope. Okay, that's cool. I was wondering about that because the fact that that they find you, that you don't always have to do the outbound.
Yeah,
that's great. That's power, man.
Outbound is tough. Like that. When I think of sales and like a good salesperson, I do think traditionally that you need to be good at like proactively going after business. I think if you're only waiting for like sales to come to you, in my mind, you're a little bit more of an order taker. And I'm like, you're only really gonna go so far with that. I'm like, you need to go out, you need to make calls, you need to send emails, you need to go travel, you need to go shake hands. I think especially, and this is kind of like my hypothesis with how a lot of the sales stuff is going to go. Seeing like the initial like outreach programs that kind of started, one of them was literally called Outreach, just like outreach and sales loft and all these things where you could kind of like mass send a bunch of emails and calls and everything like really in rapid succession, right? There was that. It still had kind of like a human touch in it. You still had to like manually write all that stuff, but like when we first got those tools in sales, it worked really well at the beginning because like it gave you an advantage, like just off of pure volume. Then everybody had those tools, and then it didn't work as well.
Yeah.
And I look at, you probably get some of these messages already, like the AI generated messages. Oh, I think the AI generated sales messages, like people have this dream scenario where you're gonna be able to like turn this on and it's just gonna book meeting and get sales ready. And I think maybe like a year ago, maybe that was gonna work for a little bit. But I think everybody's going to try it, and then it's not really going to work. And that, you can kind of like tell when the messages are a little weird or they don't resonate with you personally. I think it's going to be a glut of that, just like all over the place. And I think what's going to give like human salespeople an advantage is like being able to actually talk to somebody in their voice.
Yeah.
But like I think in person, and this is like part of my bet. I think in person is going to be way bigger than it's ever
Agreed.
been.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. Yes, let's go there indeed, because especially nowadays where everything is digital, AI everywhere, interpersonal contact doesn't really, is online. People don't really look at each other face to face anymore. But we as human beings, we have the innate need to have these moments. So the more that we kind of divert from that because of technology, the more that need grows. So I couldn't agree with you more. The people that focus on in person or are strong in like, looking a person in the face and being able to sell them something like that, you're gonna win. You're gonna win because you might be fooled once for an AI app thingy and whatever, but that's not sustainable. What is sustainable is what makes us unique, our humanity. And if you know how to bundle that and package that, you're gonna be golden.
My brain already kind of turns off those messages when I see them, and then I almost like borderline get like a negative association when it happens.
Yeah, like, it's in here.
I don't want to say they're lazy, but it kind of like mentally.
They are. Sometimes I respond. Sometimes I actually respond to these messages and be like, "Really? Like, really? Is that the best you could do?" Which is also not per se nice, but I'm like, guys. Especially, I'm sorry. I'm gonna vent some frustrations here now. Especially when people reach, I do international events, so a lot of event agencies or brands or partners want to reach out and want to sell me shit. Like, dude, if you can't even take the 5 minutes to research me and research what I do, it's not that difficult. I'm pretty easily to be found. Just Google my name. And is trying to sell me. I want to develop a game. It's like I don't do. I do events, dude. It's like read the room. Anyway, sorry.
I get messages like that too.
Frustrations.
I'm not like out there that much, but I'm also not like hidden. I'm like, you can Google me and find, it's pretty easy to find information on me as a whole. Like, even if you just go to the website, go to the about page and like spend 2 minutes.
It's not that difficult. And indeed, it's not that difficult. But that's why it's like, and especially as a salesperson, if you want something from me, do your research. Man. That's the least you can do. It's like, know who you're talking to. And it's not about ego. It's not about, I've been in the egg industry. No, I don't care about that. But it's more like, you're trying to sell me shit. I shouldn't be the one having to research you. It's like, it should be the other way around.
I think the companies that spend one, take the effort, but also spend the money to like do more in person, like whatever it is that they're trying to push. I think those companies are going to see. It might not even be immediate returns, but I think in the long haul, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be like night and day.
100%. And I bet my money, career, whatever the hell, what I'm doing now in general, is going to be more grassroots. What you see now is like the big companies where we used to spend millions and millions on the E3, for example, which was great, was a lot of fun. E3 parties were great.
Yeah.
But you see now that, first of all, we don't have these budgets anymore in the industry. And for the people that do have the budgets, they allocate the budgets differently. And speaking for me personally, looking at in Ubisoft, like, okay, instead of spending these millions on one event, let's go more grassroots and let's go more back to the basics, and you work with smaller organizations or smaller events or smaller activations that are more purpose driven and have a bigger impact than here is a big banner on the side of the LA Convention Center, which is fun and great and stuff. But with that money that you spend there, you can actually make an impact in a person's life. And if you make an impact, people will come back. And, I don't have to explain it to you. You know how it works. You know how it works. Yeah, man.
Yeah. That's where I'm putting some of my bet is more on the like in person. So I mentioned this to you, I'm launching LoreCon in Durham. And part of that was, I was like, man, there's like not really a kind of like strong Black, multicultural convention in North Carolina, which crazy to me. But like in the fall, I'm like, the fall in North Carolina is the best season. I'm like, it's not too hot, got all the crazy pollen like in the spring, and it's not cold in the winter. I'm like, why does this not exist here? I'm like, maybe it's that thing where just, it just takes somebody to do it, and through like kind of like some of my connections with Blur, but also just like being local to North Carolina, I was like, let's get some of these people together and try to like pull off this first year event, like let's do it in Durham. Durham's like a very kind of culture forward city. It's the right place. It's the right time. We know some creators that can come to the city that normally wouldn't be here and like make an impact in their life. I'm like, one of these college students might see one of these creators and what they've been able to do and get inspired and like, hey, I want to go down that career path. Or they might be like, hey, creating is kind of crowded, but hey, we need a lot of editors. Maybe you should go be the best editor and you're going to make a killing that way. Who knows? But
it's about planting that seed, and even if that seed comes to fruition in a few years, it doesn't matter. If you change one person's life, you change the world potentially.
Yeah.
And indeed, okay. Someone agrees with you. The fall in North Carolina is the best. I haven't been there yet, so I couldn't. I don't know. I need to find an excuse to come over, I think.
Even logistically, I think about, a lot of cosplayers go to these conventions. And I'm like, well, if you're wearing some big, like, I don't know, Eva foam, suit.
You're going to melt.
In the summer, you're going to melt versus, you do it in the fall. It's still going to be pretty warm, but it's not going to be nearly as bad as like, the summertime.
You probably won't die. Probably, maybe. But it's dedication. Right. Time flies. Holy shit! Looking towards the future, because you're expanding. I know that you guys also do some marketing things. You're working as advice. You're on retainer for some companies, helping them, advising them how to talk to black culture, black nerds. What do you think that Blurt will eventually become? Do you think that it will become something larger than media, or what excites you the most of where you guys are heading?
Yeah. So when I think of the evolution of Blur, again, it was just an idea, and it's just some friends coming together, and it's just, hey, here's some stickers, and it turned into we got a website with some content, and it turned into like merch, and it was like, hey, you guys do really good marketing for yourselves, can you help me? And then it kind of turned into more of what you see today with the agency side of the business, where it's like, well, we make just as much money doing like, marketing for other people that need help as we are on our own, like pushing our stuff. Like maybe we need to lean into that a little bit more. and we've helped other companies and brands be successful. I think from a growth perspective, there'll be more of that, and then I think it's going to be more of those like in real life type events from a growth perspective. I think we'll expand into that quite a bit more.
Can't wait to see, man. It's super cool. It's such a shame I haven't been able to go back to the States in the last few years because Ubisoft business, but I mean, I would love to attend one of your events. I would love to see with my own eyes, to see Black culture, Black geek culture being celebrated, which I think is, I always get super happy when I go to events, these consumer events, and I see Black people in cosplay, for example. That makes me so happy, because back in the days that was almost unheard of.
Yeah.
And I can only applaud platforms, events, or people that empower, allow, or celebrate. It's people living their best fucking life, man. Whatever that is. If you want to dress up like whoever, who cares? Do your thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's entire brands spun off of it, which is not just ours, but like a whole bunch of other brands that have spun off over the years. And it's like that's like crazy to see. It's like, wow, like not only is there a brand that represents, like there's lots of brands now out there. It's like you have options. Like, oh my God, you got options now, Yeah,
but someone needs to show them the way. And that's what you guys did. That's what you guys built. And you also inspired me with what I'm doing. It's a completely different kind of thing. It's like much more niche, much more focused, smaller audience. But you showing the world that it's okay to be a Black nerd. It's like that's, even though you shouldn't have to be able to. You shouldn't have to, but the fact that you show it's okay, and not just that it's okay, but it's celebrated and that it's beautiful and that it's a wonderful kind of thing. I think that is something that is inspiring, that resonates all over the world. At least it resonates all the way until Paris right now here.
I think it's especially important, and this is me and my dad mode. I've got a daughter. My co-founder Chris, he has 5, and then
wow,
yeah, and then my other co-founder Javon, he's got 2. And I'm just like, you kind of watch them grow up, and you're like, oh my God, like they're the next wave. Like, there's us, and there's like a wave under us. It's like, no, that wave under them is like almost here, and you're just kind of like, man, I'm up now. How that?
Exactly. But I don't have any kids, but it must be cool to kind of like see that next generation and see how they deal with things that for us might have been like weird or like awkward, and for them it's normal. It's watch your Dragon Balls, it's fine, whatever, these kind of things. Which the example that I always give is Northwest, so Kanye or Ye West's daughter. How she dresses, that is something that back in the days would have been like, she's like hard work with spiky necklaces and these kind of things. She's like all over the place when you look at it culturally. It's like eclectic. And it's fine. It's celebrated. And it should be fine because, yes, we're not a monolith. Wear your hair blue. Wear your spiky stingies. Whatever. We don't care. Live your best life.
Yeah. Like, I look at my daughter. She's 3 going on 4. She watches Teen Titans. She watches Teen Titans Go on her tablet. And I'm like, man, like that much time. It's weird when it's your kid because it's like, it goes so fast. Like, you always hear that from other people. But when you experience it yourself, it's like, I imagine changing her diaper, and from that to like her preferred shows and being upset that she doesn't get to watch her preferred show the way she wants to, while she eats the food that she wants to, kicks her feet up the way she wants to. It's crazy, and you see their personality traits, that pop out, and it's like I didn't influence her to watch that. She just kind of picked it up,
Yeah.
And it's like it's just like really cool that she's absorbing and probably going to be into a lot of this, I even think of I took her to NC Comic-Con. She's probably about 1 at that point, and like Afua Richardson held her in a Cruella de Vil cosplay, and we got a picture of it. I was like, when you have no idea who this person is or anything that's going on, but when you're like older, it's gonna be like really cool that you like got these experiences in this picture. And even we went to Anime Week in Atlanta, and my daughter's at the booth, and she's sitting there with my best friend at the booth. We got like a picture of it. I was like, when I'm like 60, that's gonna be really cool to like look back on the picture, like look at when Luda was like 2 years old at the booth with you. It's gonna be really. Though that's the stuff that you can't like buy.
No.
I'm not gonna ever get that in like tech sales or anything like that. But like you can build out your own thing.
It's all about it. Yeah, but in the end, it's all about that, right? I mean, it's about creating your actual legacy, having a little one, seeing her grow and seeing her evolve and all these kind of things. But imagine, when a certain point in time you might be a granddad. And seeing that kid, and then seeing that iteration of yourself or of your daughter being like even more comfortable with being whatever the hell.
It's even, when I think back on the business, it's just like little cool moments that weren't like, to anybody else, they aren't going to really necessarily be thinking about it that much. But like, we had these custom basketballs we did with the branding on it. And, my best friend Chris, his son is my godson. So I'm sitting here looking, I was like, my godson is dribbling this custom basketball from the brand in the booth. I'm like, that's so cool. Like, what I think of it is like, that's such a cool moment. And, he helped us work the booth that weekend. And he was like, bringing people over and like doing customer service and stuff. I was like, when he's older, he's going to talk about how he's in Atlanta with us and hanging out and all that,
Yeah, and dude, and it all came out of your head because you had an idea. Yeah. And of course you did it together with people, I know, but and that's why I think it's so important also for the people watching. Like, it can all start with an idea, but you need to put the things in motion, and you need to work with the right people in order to make it happen. But then your crazy idea that you think would never turn into more than here's a sticker and a t-shirt can turn into an actual career and an actual legacy that you have actually already built now. Yeah. Indeed, seeing your godchild like dribble a ball with a brand that you created, and an event that you're like part of. Like,
yeah. Like even my daughter sees the logo and she's like, "Dad, that's company." Like that's what she says. Like, man. You cannot like buy that. Like
I can't even imagine the feeling of the first time she said that. You were it hurts in a good way.
We've made like some kids items over the years.
Yeah, I saw it on the website, by the way. It was super cool, by the charcoal, the Parker thingies, right? The fleece thingies.
Yeah, so we had like the adult ones. It's both become a dad, I'm more conscious of these things, but also like the practical of the business, right? So obviously there's not like, pink and blue sheep or anything crazy like that out there. So it's custom fabric. And, when you're buying custom fabric, you got to buy a whole bunch of it.
Yeah.
Buying like yards and yards of this fabric. And the manufacturer, we did all the adult ones. The manufacturer's like, well, you still got X amount of fabric. You could make some more of them. I was like, hey, can you do like kids? They're like, yeah, you could create like X amount of kids. I was like, let's do that. So like we just created little mini versions of them, and we sold all the mini versions. We might have like one or two kind of like, I try to keep some stuff kind of like in the vault basically. But we even had like grown women trying to buy the kids things and wear them with like top tops. Which they get like these things don't like go how you imagine. They're like, because the adult ones were gone. They're like, I still want it.
I need to have my copy. I need to have my example. Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, it's just like people have been asking for that product to come back for a while, but I was like, man, I gotta buy like this practice. I gotta buy all of them. I was like, I don't know,
like a mile of fabric in order to. Yeah, no, I get it. Oh man. But that's what success looks like, dude. You've built it, you created it, and now you're here. Now before I let you go, I have one or two more questions. A lot of people they look at success like, oh yeah, I want to be successful. I want to be there. I want to indeed be able to have to order miles of fabric in order to create my custom clothing. But what's the hardest part about being the face of the movement of community brand? Because I'm sure there have been moments that you wanted to quit, or that you were close to burnout, because that's how these things go.
Oh yeah, I mean, you get that. I don't want to say yearly, but like that is something that kind of, especially that's a reoccurring thing. I think I always stress team. It's your team helping push you forward. Sometimes even mentally, like let's just get it done. Let's just keep moving. But even like Chris is one of those people in particular I think about with this. He might be down, like, business goes up, business goes down, business goes up, business goes down. Chris has this weird way of pulling like these random like rabbits out of his hat sometimes when things are down. Like, oh, all right, we're all right for another few months. Like Chris figured it out, or you got to do an event and it's 109 degrees outside. And yeah, Javon's like, you know what? Like, whatever. I'm gonna show up. We're just gonna get it done. We're just outside melting, getting the cells, and then just dripping sweat. And it's like, you know what? We made it through the weekend though.
Yeah,
we figured it out. It's worrying about cash flow all the time because that's a big part, especially when you do a business that has like inventory.
Oh yeah,
cash
inventory,
flow.
employees. Yeah.
You have moments where you sell a whole bunch of stuff and it's sweet. But then you end up having to just take that money and buy more inventory so your cash gets hit again. And it's just like balancing that. It's balancing like debt versus like trying to do revenue and back and forth. That's part of it. It's having an accountant, having good lawyers, make sure your stuff's trademarked and make sure your operating agreement looks right so everybody knows the rules of the business, make sure the shares are the right way. It's a lot. Like, and the funny thing too is if I was to run it back again or run a new business, I could do it in probably a tenth of the time because you already kind of hit something on some things and I already know what to expect. It's even little stuff like pick the right, accounting software. We use FreshBooks the first time because it was cheaper. All the accountants use QuickBooks. So you're just like, all right, I gotta switch accounting software. You just kind of learn these lessons. Like, don't buy 300 book backpacks because they tell you that's the minimum. Because it's gonna take you a long time to sell 300
backpacks, bro.
In your garage, it's gonna be filled with backpacks.
You got backpacks for years, for days, for everybody.
You learn stuff like from other people along the way too. Like when we first started kind of really leaning into the vending piece of things, we were trying to figure out like, well, how do we even get all this stuff to the shows? And these guys are like, oh yeah, like we just drive, just get like a truck. You go to this website, order stuff. Like they'll just tell you everything, especially if they view you as completely non-competitive.
Oh yeah,
they're like, yeah, do this, that. And these are people that have been in it for years. They're people. People that like get this kind of lighting or do this or do that. Like you can learn so much stuff just like going out, I guess, like in the field and talking to people. 100%. That's like the best way. That's the best way. And like that helps you with the burnout too, because there'll be some like issue or problem that you think is the biggest thing in the world. And somebody will just have the answer. They just have the answer sitting there and it's not a big deal to them because they just already
like, no, don't worry about it. Like this is like 5 minutes. Don't worry, it's done.
Yeah, like even, you might have your $10,000 of debt. You're like, oh my God, like I'm freaking out. And then you talk to somebody, it's like, yeah, I got like $1 million or I got 10 million. And you're sitting there like, what? Yeah, you're like, yeah, you should take out more. And you're like, wait, what do you mean?
Like, wait.
Like, you're not gonna be able to do this, unless you go do more. And you're just like, all right.
That's why it's good to get perspective from different people. The right people, of course, and that's why it's good to have mentors or have like confidants in your life that whenever you are kind of like reaching the max, at least you can like vent towards or have a conversation with, and they'll be like, "Nah, it's all good. You're worrying too much, or you're not worrying enough."
I got a great quote on that in particular. It was like one of the goals. It was the mentor giving you the advice you don't want to hear, but it's the right thing. Because I was having kind of like a burnout moment. And I was just like, I don't know about doing this anymore. I'm tired, blah, blah. And I'm talking to him on the phone. And he's like, well, I've been going out of business for 30 years. He's just like, here. And you're just like, I kind of like sat there quiet for a minute. I was like, Rob, that's not what I wanted to hear. I was like, he's like, I know it's not, but he's like, this is the reality. He's like, that's what this is. And I was like, like, all right. He's like, so what you gonna do? You gonna keep going, or you gonna,
okay.
Yeah, you gotta have that. But like, going out of business 30 years was one of the crazier business quotes I heard.
Yeah, but it's a good quote indeed, because indeed, a lot of even the most successful people, they doubt There's some people doubt themselves every day and they just keep it pushing because what's the alternative? That's the thing. It's like, what's the alternative?
Yeah, it's like you gotta figure something out.
Yeah, exactly. Figure
especially after you're a few years in it, you're like,
yeah.
Wait a minute. Unwinding it seems a lot more difficult than what it was to wind it up.
Yeah, man. Oh man, I wish we had more time. I'm gonna release you into the world. I mean, we might have to do a part 2, or I might have to just come and attend one of your events and just do a live interview with you there.
Like
I said, I want to be respectful of your time.
Listen, we're doing LoreCon in Durham this September 26th, 27th. It's the first one. Mm-hmm. I know there's some people online who are looking for sponsors. That's the big thing right now. And it could be in any category. And I don't want to say there's no rules, but like you want to do some kind of crazy, experiential thing or moment at this event, I'm like, look, we'll figure it out.
All right. So I know some people are watching that might be able to make that shit happen. So, I'm not going to name you, but you know who you are. If you're interested, reach out to Terril. They're doing amazing things. If you don't know how to reach out to him, reach out to me and I'll connect you. That's also fine. But he's pretty easy to find. Blurt.com as well. We need to make sure that we get you right and that we get you all the sponsors for LoreCon. I know Ubisoft's not going to be it because Ubi's not doing super well, but the network might be able to help out.
Listen, look, I'm not in the room, but we've seen what Arc Raiders has done. I don't see why the Division can't come back and copy a little bit of that model. I don't say copy paste, but you kind of already had the whole Dark Zone going rogue. You kind of like did it before them a little bit.
I know we released a mobile game kind of like as a kind of snack in between. If a game is successful or a franchise is successful, you can bet your ass that they're working on a new version. Yeah. No confirming here, but in general. Like Leon said, like no, I did not.
I know if that comes out, I'll be playing it. I know Javon in the chat will be in there with me complaining about me going rogue.
But that's the fun part of games. You can be the asshole that you can't be in real life.
It's like I won't do it in real life. But
no, don't do it in real life. But I'll screw you over in the Division or in another game. There's no problem. All right. Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you as a person, the time that you've given me, but also the thing that you've built and that you are building because it's important.
Thank you. It was fun. Like I appreciate you having me. Like I need to start doing stuff like this more. Like I know it's good for the business.
I mean, you don't need to do shit. You can do whatever you want. That's you're the boss. All right. Javon is sharing your email. So
look at him.
There you go. Well done, Javon. So indeed, for people, don't email Javon. So not Javon at blur.com.
Email Javon at blur.com.
Exactly. No, but I tell that to everybody that people watching, but also in general, it's like connect. That's what this platform is for. I'm providing access to amazing people. If you see a cool business opportunity there, reach out. Blurt has been doing amazing things. They will keep on doing amazing things. And I think this is just the beginning of what you guys are doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And again, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad that I got the chance to do this with you today.
Yeah, and I appreciate you also spending the time with me and also going a little bit over time, almost 15 minutes. Man, appreciate you.
Conversation was going.
So I'm going to release you back into the world. For the people watching, thank you so much for joining. You were relatively quiet, not that many questions today, but it's fine because there was a lot of cool stuff that Terril had to share. If you're watching this not live and you still have questions, leave them in the chat. Terril might see him, he might not. If he doesn't see him, I will see him. I might answer, I might not, depending if you're cool or not. No, but thank you for watching. Thank you for your time, Terril. And we will be back with Black Game Pro sessions in, I think, next week or the week after. I don't know. It's going to be fun.
All right. See you later.
All right. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.